Heya Cryptozens, it's 10 p.m. Pacific time. My name is Nikodemus, and welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. And it's Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. The time is 10 p.m., so let's go. Spain's central bank has approved a test. It's a project from a fintech firm called Monet. The project is to test out a token linked to the euro, the EURM. Now, this comes from a January 18th report in Cinco Dias, which is a Spain-based news outlet. According to them, the Bank of Spain gave Monet permission to begin issuing their tokens as part of a testing phase. This testing phase is expected to last 6 to 12 months. So they stood up a test environment for testing financial projects in a controlled manner. This also keeps these experiments under the supervision of the central bank. During the testing phase of the EURM, eligible Spanish residents can send the equivalent of €10 using the digital asset. You just got to have a phone number. Now, EURM is backed one-to-one with physical euro at 2 Spanish banks. The CEO and founder of Monet said that he believes the future of payments is digital and that this is an opportunity to show that they're at the forefront. Now, the Bank of Spain announced that they're going to be launching their own digital currency program in December of 2022. This is not that. That was a wholesale CBDC. This project by Monet is not a Euro CBDC, but testing it through Spain's central bank might be helpful for creating one in the future. Now, the CEO believes that the Bank of Spain may work with the ECB, the European Central Bank, to create a regulated and supervised product. Now, the ECB announced in July of 2021 that they're investigating a digital euro with a potential release date in 2026. They've been releasing statements and working papers about the design and features of a digital currency. The ECB Governing Council will review the results of an investigation in the third quarter of this year. And we do have a CBDC Alert. This time it's in Davos, Switzerland. And really, the World Economic Forum going on, it's not really all that surprising that talk of central bank digital currencies would come up. Well, this time, it's the governor of the South African Reserve Bank, and they were talking about problems with creating digital currencies at a meeting in Davos. Now, his name is Lisette Ganyego, and he was talking about digital currencies and wondered if they're really needed. He asked if there's a problem that digital currencies can actually solve. And this is a similar sentiment we've heard twice in as many days. Central or ex-central bankers talking down about CBDCs. Yesterday, it was Andrew Bailey from the Bank of England. The day before, it was Yates, a former advisor to the Bank of England. And they're all asking if CBDCs are really worth it. Now, Ganyego said that some countries are interested in digital currencies because they want to update their banking systems, make payments faster, and include more people in the financial system. He also said that before a country starts using digital currencies, it should make sure that the people want to use them by having a national conversation about it. He said that his bank is being very careful about digital currencies. He said that they're going to take a wait-and-see approach to see what goes on with other countries before making their own decision. He also said the central bank doesn't see crypto as a real currency because it's not used by most people. The United States should lead the development of an international regulatory framework for digital currencies, at least according to the Digital Dollar Project. That organization supports a U.S. central bank digital currency. And so they're suggesting that the U.S. should establish this framework even if it doesn't create its own CBDC. The Digital Dollar Project believes that the U.S. should take a leadership role in setting global standards for issues such as security, privacy, and scalability, rather than just responding to what other countries are doing. Because as we've talked about on this show, many countries around the world are studying or creating a central bank digital currency. And so they're taking the position that the United States' cautious approach to CBDCs is problematic. They say that the country's lack of action might actually hurt the domestic economy, especially if other countries issue and widely adopt their own digital currencies for international payments. They said this defensive posture is unsustainable in the long term. The Digital Dollar Project said that other countries' digital currencies could be used to bypass financial sanctions. So they said it's important for the U.S. to maintain the use of the dollar in digital global payment systems. The project also states that if the U.S. does not act quickly, other countries may begin to replace the dollar with their own digital currencies, which could harm the U.S. economy. Now, that's something that we're seeing happen already. The project's white paper says that China has a first mover advantage in the development and deployment of a CBDC. They said that this could lead to China setting economic and technical standards that align with its government, which could potentially undermine the dominance of the U.S. dollar. As it stands, the U.S. has been setting standards for central bank digital currencies, particularly through the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's testing of digital tokens for wholesale transactions. Now, that's for an institutional-grade CBDC for transactions between financial institutions. Remember, not too long ago, we were talking about how New York's Innovation Office has been leading the way in wholesale tokenized deposits or tokenized liability network settlement between banks. So, unfortunately, we are making progress. Caroline Pham is a commissioner at the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and she wants regulators, like those at the CFTC, to give clear rules about crypto assets in 2023. As she told Bloomberg, talks with other countries about crypto regulations are ongoing. She also mentioned that there are currently discussions about global standards for crypto regulation. Now, Pham met with various players over 75 times to talk about crypto regs. She said that talks about global standards are happening, but outside of the U.S. She also mentioned that regulators must find a way to provide clarity for current issues in the crypto space, such as legal problems faced by Gemini and Genesis. We're going to talk about them later. Now, Pham believes that crypto should be held to the same standards as other financial instruments. She also wants to explore frameworks for non-financial crypto activities and blockchain use cases. Pham hopes for more guidance from U.S. regulators in 2023 and is optimistic about getting more clarity in the U.S. She said she believes it's important to consider what more can be done and not just be content with things staying the same. Meanwhile, the SEC had more crypto-related enforcement actions in 2022 than in 2021. A consulting firm, Cornerstone Research, released a report showing the SEC took 24 legal actions and 6 administrative actions in 2022. That is a 50% increase over the previous year. Cornerstone Research is a company that helps lawyers, companies, and government groups with financial analysis and expert advice. They have data on crypto enforcement actions by the SEC from 2013 to 2022. 14 out of the 30 enforcement actions were about ICOs, initial coin offerings, and 8 out of 14 had allegations of fraud. Now, the SEC recently took action against Nikhil Wahi. Now, he is the brother of a former employee at Coinbase. He was recently sentenced to 10 months in jail for participating in a crypto insider trading scheme. The SEC took legal action against BlockFi for not registering offers and sales of its crypto lending product in February of 2022. And let's not forget the SEC's actions against Sam Bankman-Fried for deceiving investors in December of 2022. The report's author, Simona Mola, said that the SEC had been focusing on crypto lending and trading platforms as well as decentralized finance platforms under the leadership of Chair Gensler. According to Mola, Gensler also said that the runway is getting shorter for crypto companies looking to get compliant. Quote, "This could lead to more enforcement actions coming from the SEC's Crypto Assets and Cyber Unit, which recently expanded its workforce to investigate securities law violations in the crypto markets." And in more SEC news, a company called CryptoFed DAO LLC is fighting against a decision by the SEC. The SEC is trying to keep them from registering and selling tokens. They claim that the SEC is not responding to their complaints and is not providing officials that would talk to them. Now, they're saying that they asked the SEC questions after they received a stop order in November, but they didn't get any answers. The COO of American CryptoFed, Zhao Meng, said that their company should be able to talk with the officials at the SEC, including their chief accountant. Zhao Meng said that they were having trouble getting in touch with the SEC's chief accountant and that they haven't been able to talk to him. The SEC is taking legal action against American CryptoFed for selling tokens called Ducat and Lock. The SEC claims that the company did not provide enough information about how it's run or about its financial situation. Now, the SEC says that the paperwork had false information and important details were left out. They claim that the company was not clear on whether the tokens that they were selling were considered securities or not. But to be fair, the SEC doesn't like to answer the question of whether or not something is a security. So it doesn't seem fair for the SEC to hold that against somebody else. And in case you haven't gotten your FTX fix lately, we've got some news on that front. Because according to Sam Bankman-Fried, Sullivan and Cromwell contradicted themselves when they said that FTX US was insolvent. Sam didn't like that, so he put up a blog post that said as much. Sullivan and Cromwell was chosen by FTX Group to take care of the financial failure of some of its smaller companies like FTX International, Alameda Research, and FTX US. But SBF has said multiple times that he thinks the company is financially stable and should not have filed for bankruptcy. He said that the law firm has additional information that shows the company has much more money than it needs to pay back customers. In fact, he says FTX US is flush. According to Sam, FTX US has at least $111 million above and beyond what's needed to make his victims whole. So it's Sam's position that the company is financially stable and that customers should be able to access their money. That said, we've talked about it on this show. Experts have said that the finances between FTX US and the mothership were just too tangled, that the companies were effectively run as one. So, I guess you can choose to believe either the experts or the guy who ran the company in the ground. It's up to you. And finally, we knew this was coming. Genesis Global Capital, a subsidiary of Digital Currency Group, is planning to file for bankruptcy. The company had previously said it would do this if it couldn't raise cash during a liquidity crunch. Apparently, the bankruptcy could happen as soon as this week. And the legal scrutiny probably is not helping. The Securities Exchange Commission said that Genesis and crypto exchange Gemini offered unregistered securities through Gemini's EURM program. That case is still going on. Gemini's co-founder, Cameron Winklevoss, wrote on social media that Genesis owes Gemini $900 million. This was for money that they lent through that same program, the EURM program. Digital Currency Group said that those allegations were false and defamatory. Now, many of these financial issues were caused by the collapse of Three Arrows Capital. Barry Silbert, CEO of Digital Currency Group, informed shareholders that Genesis is owed roughly $450 million and over 4,500 Bitcoin by Three Arrows Capital. Additionally, Genesis had roughly $175 million invested in FTX prior to its bankruptcy in November. This contributed to the liquidity problems and rumors of insolvency at Genesis. Following FTX's bankruptcy, Genesis suspended all withdrawals. If Genesis files for bankruptcy, it will be the latest in a series of collapses of crypto firms, including Terraform Labs, Voyager Digital, Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, FTX, and BlockFi. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. We'll see you tomorrow night.